Hey, welcome back, it's Rev. Today I have for you quite a few seamless glass doors, including the small 3x3 observerless, 6x6, 7x7, 8x8, 9x9, and 10x10 ones, as well as the former smallest 4x4 and 5x5. These are made by me as well as a few others, so we can get right into washing them. This is the smallest 3x3, it's 180 blocks, and it's made by me, Nacay, and Newcomer. The closing is fairly fast as well as opening. Nothing too special about it, except that the bottom doesn't actually have a toggle, it just relies on precisely timed pulses to make sure that the worm doesn't travel back up during opening. See it again, it's just a standard triple on the top, which pushes everything down, which is the same for the 4x4. This one was made by me and Roudone, and it's 342 blocks. So it's just a quad that pushes the door down with observers here and here to power it. This light was originally made by Spacewalker back in a video a few years ago, but we've taken off 2 layers from the side. So that's the opening. It just extends. There's a way to fix that piston pushing out a bit during opening, but it's both locational and directional in my testing. There's opening, it fires the quad again, but then does the bottom. It's fairly quick, and it's fastest, or it's the smallest one that doesn't take multiple minutes to open. Alright, so the 5x5s through 10x10 here are all flying machine based doors. The 5x5 is actually a bit taller than the 6x6, but it, however, does not have to have an extra layer on the side. That's because it uses a slightly different layout, which exchanges these bottom pistons here, which are used for the flying machine, all the way up here. However, this column here is exactly 12 blocks long, meaning that it cannot be expanded beyond 5x5. We can close it right now, and you'll see it will move this row of pistons up here, which are using the flying machine, up to the top before closing, where it'll get hidden again and move into this air gap. So as soon as this observer here arrives in the corner, it'll trigger the closing. So just like that, there's closing. And as for opening, it'll open as soon as you flick the lever, or the flying machine will start as soon as you flick the lever. It'll push the blocks of the door all the way down, and it'll start the tape again, which will make it seamless. So the tape will stop when it's at the bottom, and that's the opening of the door. So for the 6x6 through 10x10, I have to give a huge thank you to David John 66. He came up with the top layout here, which he used in some of his doors, as well as a lot of the wiring in here that is used for the extension of the flying machines. So without him, these doors wouldn't be possible. And all of these doors actually use 2 tapes. One in the top here, which hides the pistons for the flying machine, as well as one that's down here to hide the glass. This eliminates a considerable amount off the height of the door. However, it does have to add an extra layer on the side for mainly this piston here and this piston here. So you can again watch closing right now. See, for closing, you'll have to run a tape which will uncover the glass right here before it can close. So there's closing. The bottom's quite spammy, so it takes a bit of time to finish. There's closing. And now for opening. So this one here actually uses a hopper ROM to give the correct number of pulses to this tape up here, which cycles around the pistons. So you see every time the signal strength of this hopper down here increases, the observer will detect the change in the dust and will pulse this piston, causing the tape to go around by one. And I'll do both tapes on the opening again to finish off the door. So there's closing. That. So for the 7x7, it's the exact same layout, just expanded. However, we can't use the hopper ROM here because this block is needed for the closing of the door. So it uses a clock located on this side and some control circuitry on this side of the door. They communicate with this line here, which is pushed across. You can watch it right now. Same tape on the bottom to uncover the glass for closing. Okay, so that's the closing, and pretty much the same thing for opening. The tape on the top will run to move these pistons to the correct place for the flying machine, then the flying machine will travel down and back up, and then the tape will run again. So you can see right here, you can see the clock that's used to push the tape around. Okay. And it's pretty much the same thing as the 6x6 for the 9x9 here, just expanded out more. Okay, so that's the 8x8. For the 9x9, it's a bit different. We actually cannot use this standard like array of observers and droppers for closing, and we need dust. That's because the bottom worm has to travel up and back down because of the push limit. We also have this slider down here to get to the bottom pistons without having to add an extra layer. This door is also the slowest door of all of them, taking over 2 minutes to open. That's because the dust here and the dust lines up here are offset by 1 block. So yeah, as on this block, they have a block above the top of the door, and same thing on the 10x10. However, here they're not, just because we have the other option, either had to do that, or the other option was to add an extra layer within the flying machine. But because of that, this double extender here will power this line here, meaning that the tape has to be slowed down quite a bit so they don't interfere with each other. I can just power it. Closing's fairly standard, same as all the other doors. Is that's closing? And now, here in the opening, you'll see why this door is so slow. So see, it pulses this line every single time, I guess, because this dust here is powered by the double extender. And because of that, it means that the side here has to be slowed down a bit, and so the tape only goes around once for every pulse that the double here gets. So see, this time it'll grab nothing, and now it'll actually grab a block. So that slows down the tape on the top by quite a bit. Okay, now onto the 10x10. There's a bit of stuff that goes on here after the 9x9 finishes, which is why you saw some pistons move. 10x10, the bottom is fairly similar to 9x9, except that just doesn't have the slider here. And the top is similar to all the doors, the 8x8, 7x7, and 6x6. There's closing. That's the 10 by 10. So those are all the doors. I'll probably have a tutorial soon if there's enough requests for one. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.